Hello everybody and welcome to another Read Across America Week Dr. Seuss story. Today we are going to read The Sneetches. This book actually has the Sneetches story and other stories in it. It's got a lot of other stories in it, all written and illustrated by Dr. Seuss. But today we're going to read The Sneetches. This is one of my favorite Dr. Seuss stories because it has a really good lesson behind it. And there are lots of his stories that do that have a moral or a lesson that they're trying to teach within the story. So we're going to read The Sneetches and we're going to see if we can figure out what lesson Dr. Seuss is trying to teach us. So The Sneetches, written and illustrated by Dr. Seuss, which means he wrote the words and did the pictures. Here are our Sneetches. Now, the star-belly Sneetches had bellies with stars, but the plain-belly Sneetches had none upon theirs. Those stars weren't so big, they were really so small. You might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, all the star-belly Sneetches would brag, "We're the best kind of Sneetch on the beaches." With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort, "We'll have nothing to do with the plain-belly sort." And whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd hike right on past them without even talking. Well, that's kind of rude, right? When the star-belly children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You could only play if your bellies had stars, and the plain belly children had none upon theirs. Wah, wah, wah. Look at their faces. They look so sad. That's kind of mean to not include someone in a game simply because they don't have a star in their belly. I wonder what Dr. Seuss is trying to tell us here. When the star-belly Sneetches had Frankfurter roast, or picnics, or parties, or marshmallow toasts, they never invited the plain-belly Sneetches. They left them out in the cold and the dark of the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near, and that's how they treated them, year after year. Looks like they're having a good time over here, and leaving the plain-belly Sneetches out in the cold. Then one day, it seems, while the plain-belly Sneetches were moping and doping along on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. "My friends," he announced in a voice clear and keen, "my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles. I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that. I'm a fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you. I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work at great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed." Then quickly, Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine, and he said, "You want stars like star-belly Sneetches? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard." So they clambered inside, and then the big machine roared, and it clunked, and it bonked, and it jerked, and it burked, and it bopped them about, but the thing really worked. When the plain-belly Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start, "We're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're all just the same now, you snooty old smarties. And now we can go to your Frankfurter parties." "Good grief," groaned the ones who had stars at the first. "We're still the best Sneetches, and they are the worst. But now how in the world will we know," they all frowned, "if which kind is what or the other way around?" Then up came McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, "Things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who. That's perfectly true, but come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best Sneetches on the beaches, and all it will cost is $10 eaches." "Belly stars are no longer in style," said McBean. "What you need is a trip through my old star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars, so you won't look like the Sneetches who have them on theirs." And that handy machine, working very precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. Oh my goodness, now the ones that had stars in the beginning are going through the machine to get the stars taken off, and the ones that were plain bellied in the beginning are going through the machine to get the stars from their belly, because they just all what everybody just wants to fit in, and the star belly Sneetches just don't want that to happen. Then with snoots in the air they paraded about, and they opened their beaks and they let it shout out, "We know who is who, now there is no doubt. The best kind of Sneetches are Sneetches without." Wait a minute. I thought at the beginning of the story the best kind of Sneetches were the ones with the stars. And now that they have stars, now the stars are not cool, right? That doesn't make sense. I'm so confused. Let's go on. Then, of course, those with stars all got frightfully mad. To be wearing a star now was frightfully bad. And who says wearing a star is frightfully bad? Just because these people say wearing a star is bad makes it bad? We all have times like that, right? Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guessed, things got into a horrible mess. And all the while, boys and girls, they are changing all this stuff. And what are they doing? They're just whoop, 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 paying him that money. Look at him. He's smiling. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's playing all these Sneetches, trying to get all the money they have. All the rest of the day, on those wild screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up Sneetches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines they raced around and about again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money, they kept running through, until neither the plane nor the starbellies knew whether this one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was what one, or what one was who. Then, when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie, he packed up and he went. And he laughed as he drove in his car at the beach. Ha ha ha. They'll never learn. No, you can't teach a Sneetch. He drove off with all their money. And now they still don't know who is who. But McBean was quite wrong, I'm quite happy to say, that the Sneetches got really quite smart on that day. That day, they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches, and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day, all the Sneetches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not, upon Mars. Looks like they finally figured it out, boys and girls, that it doesn't matter what you look like or what kind of clothes you wear, that people are people and Sneetches are Sneetches, and everybody should treat each other the same and get along and treat each other equally, and everybody should be friends. And no one person or Sneetch is better than another, right? So, this teaches us a really great lesson about how to treat other people. I love this story, the Sneetches, right? So at the end of the story, they spent all their money. They weren't very smart about spending their money, but they did learn a very good life lesson about how to treat each other. So thankfully, even though they lost all their money to that Mr. McBean, they did figure out that they all should be friends in the end. So boys and girls, that is The Sneetches by Dr. Seuss. We're continuing on with Read Across America this week. Remember to keep on reading and enjoying all this fun stuff we're doing with Dr. Seuss, and have a great rest of the day.